Standing was not the delay before the real work, it was the first and most essential part of the real work. And the same is true for every believer, every assembly, and every movement that wants to walk in the ancient paths rather than simply run faster with the new cart on the wrong road. Now, standing at the crossroads is the beginning, but it's not sufficient by itself. The second command follows immediately: look. The Hebrew verb here, it carries the same sense of careful, sustained, attentive observation. Not a casual glance at the options available, but the kind of honest, extended examination that is willing to see what it finds, even when what it finds is uncomfortable. And this brings us to the first point of interest that we want to focus in on: the courage required for honest observation. Now, looking honestly at the spiritual condition of any community or one's own walk requires genuine courage, because honest observation always risks disrupting the comfortable familiarity of the established norm. Now, in Jeremiah's generation, an honest look at the condition of Judah would have produced the very assessment Jeremiah was making: cracked cisterns where there should have been flowing water, smooth words where there should have been truth, religious forms operating without the covenant content that gave them their meaning. Now, the leaders and the people could see all of this if they were actually willing to look. But looking honestly meant acknowledging that what felt normal was not actually right. And that acknowledgement, friend, is never comfortable. Psalm 119 and 18 says, "Open my eyes so that I may contemplate the wonderful things from your instruction." Now, the psalmist acknowledges something important here: seeing the wonders of Torah, seeing the ancient paths for what they actually are and where they actually lead, is not something that human wisdom produces on its own. It requires a supernatural opening of the eyes. It is a gift from Yahweh to those who are genuinely willing to stand at the crossroads and look. And the prayer of Psalm 119, verse 18, is the prayer that makes the second command of Jeremiah 6:16 possible. Yahweh, open my eyes so that I am able to see what is actually there when I look. And this brings us to our next point of focus: what an honest look at our generation reveals. Now, an honest look at the condition of the broader Christian world today, not to condemn, but to diagnose in the same spirit Jeremiah was diagnosing Judah, it reveals a landscape that carries some sobering similarities to what the prophet was describing: declining biblical literacy across the Western church, widespread moral compromise in leadership, congregations that cannot clearly articulate what they believe or why, a generation leaving the faith in numbers that are impossible to explain as simply the world becoming more secular, and underneath all of it, a widespread functional dismissal of 77% of Yahweh's written word, the Torah, the prophets, and the writings, as no longer applicable, no longer relevant, or at best useful only for illustrative purposes in Sunday school and Sunday morning sermons. And even an honest look at much of the Pentecostal and charismatic landscape today, again, not to condemn, but to diagnose in the spirit that Jeremiah was diagnosing Judah, it reveals some sobering parallels to David's new cart moment. We see a heavy emphasis on spiritual experiences, signs and wonders, and powerful encounters, while large portions of Scripture, especially the Torah and the prophets, are treated as outdated, optional, or belonging only to Old Testament Israel. And there's often an elevation of new prophetic words, fresh anointings, and emotional worship atmosphere over careful, systematic obedience to Yahweh's written commands.